Howdy, welcome to the MasterCast. I'm your host, Ben Wiggins. It is a gorgeous day in Aggie land, and we are fired up for today's discussion. Our guest today, Jacob Robinson, is the president and founder of One Stone Solutions, a commercial cleaning company with offices in Houston and Dallas. One Stone Solutions was founded in 2015, and Jacob has led the company from a startup to a 350 employee company that is currently doing $12 million in annual revenue. In addition, Jacob is a co-founder at Dig World, a construction-themed adventure park where kids and adults get to operate real construction equipment, located in Katy, Texas. He is also a co-founder of DryPort Capital, a commercial real estate venture that focuses on industrial outdoor storage space, parking for 18-wheelers. Jacob is a graduate of Texas A&M University and lives in Katy, Texas with his wife, Melissa, also a TAMU grad, and children, Pierce, 7 years old, and Annie, 2 years old. We're excited for this one. We welcome Jacob Robinson to the show. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank y'all for having me. It's great to be here.
How was the drive?
It's good. A little early morning, but it's always good coming back to Aggie land.
Yeah. What were the biggest surprises to you in your Aggie journey? You eventually became student body president. Yep. You had kind of an illustrious career here, but what were the biggest sort of out of left field type of things for you?
Yeah, I think it's probably a cliche Aggie answer, but for me it was that year experiencing the Aggie network, right? I mean, really. So I think I went into the senior year probably assuming there's like 4 or 5 jobs out there for people. You go be a lawyer, a doctor, a banker,
fireman,
teacher,
or zookeeper.
That's it. And then all of a sudden I was meeting these former students from all over the world that were going, super successful in this field and that field. And success can be defined from money value or just, impact and just who they are. Yeah. And all of a sudden it was this head spinning experience of going, oh my goodness, there's a million things out there. But almost every single one of them, even to this date, I would even say I keep in contact with a lot of them. They were willing to help, willing to say, hey, let us help you get your first job. Hey, I'm in town if you need advice, you need a place to stay. And there's a lot of those people that I met then that I reach out to. I mean, I was talking to one last week that I got to know. They're actually on staff here at A&M. Mm-hmm. But building those relationships, I don't think I could have understood the magnitude of that going into that senior year, even during that senior year, or probably even closely after that senior year. But really experiencing that Aggie network that I'm still drawing on today was one of those experiences that it's hard to define for somebody. It's hard to articulate until you experience it.
What then would you say to current undergraduate students or graduate students who would like to take the same entrepreneurial route that you eventually have?
Yeah, man, I would say do it. Right, I'm a big believer in the entrepreneurial spirit and that as a career. However, I always say that with the caveat of that's not for everybody, and that's absolutely okay. We need people of all different walks of life to make this world go round. And so I always tell people, if you're thinking about going down the entrepreneurial track or path, you need to understand who you are as a person. You need to understand your risk tolerance and be okay with whatever that answer is, right? There are non-risky entrepreneurs that are highly successful, and there are highly risky entrepreneurs that are still successful. And there's the whole gamut in between. Yeah. And so I think understanding yourself, what you're okay with, what motivates you, what drives you, because I also think there's this like false lure or sexiness, if you will, around this idea of entrepreneurship. And it's okay that it's not for everybody. There's some days where I wish the way the good Lord made me was to sit and sit behind a computer and do spreadsheets. My life would probably be a lot less complicated if I was really good at doing that because I rely on those people heavily. And so I think people need to just be who you are and like who you are. And that will help you go down the entrepreneurial path or not.
The idea you ran with, One Stone Solutions, how did that get started?
Yeah, so it's a commercial cleaning company. So One Stone Solutions, we're a nightly custodial company. We clean office buildings, schools, churches. We clean construction sites. Back in 2015, a mentor of mine, if you will, came to me and said, hey, listen, I'm kind of in the second half of my career, if you will. I've been blessed. I've got resources. Let me give you your MBA through the School of Hard Knocks. Let's go start a business together. Yeah. And I said, hey, listen, I don't want to do that. I was like, that doesn't sound, it sounds terrifying. I've got my first kid is on the way. Melissa's got a great job. I'm good. I think I've just figured out this work thing. And
okay. Like, welcome to the MasterCast. Thanks for joining us today.
Right, that's it. Boom, shut the lights off. And he said, well, hey, go home, come up with a business plan, at least for me to take to somebody else. And I was like, oh, okay, I could. So I threw some things against the wall and I said, hey, I think you should start a commercial cleaning company. He's like, great. So when do you want to start? Again, I'm not doing it. And so,
you might not have heard me the first time.
I'm not sure if you heard me. And so,
one second, what made you choose a commercial cleaning company? Why did you see a market opportunity there?
So two things. One, I had done a short stint for a cleaning company in town. It was a great company. And man, I love the workforce. Like I loved the individuals that I was getting to meet. I love this segment of overlooked individuals that do hard things.
Yeah.
Also, I love providing a service. I love the hospitality space. And the idea that we could show up, clean your building, clean your school, clean your church, you never know we're there, is a cool idea. Also, couple that with, if I worked really hard and if I sold accounts and I grew a business, I could provide life-changing, sustainable jobs to individuals. That was the main motivator. Hey, how do we go create jobs for people that are real, sticky, tangible jobs that can impact a generation for them, right? And so that was the motivator behind it of, hey, I love this. It's simple. I'm not the brightest guy in the room, so I needed it to be simple. And so that was the crux behind it. And so Mark and I were sitting at lunch, and he said, well, I tell you what, why don't you just go talk to Melissa about it, my wife? And I was like, great. Joke's on him. As any good husband, I knew she'd say no. So I was like, great, she can be my scapegoat, and I can just blame her for no reason. So we went to dinner that night, and I don't know if it was the pregnancy hormones or what. I said, hey, Mark's got this crazy idea. He said I should start this cleaning company, and he's going to back me. And she's like, you should do it. And I was like, that's not what you were supposed to say.
Right. Yeah.
This is blowing up in right in front of me. She said, hey, what's the worst we're going to lose? And I was like, a lot. And so I told him, let's do it. And so we started back in, my son was born on May 26th of 2015. We started One Stone Solutions on June 1st, 2015.
Okay.
And so back.
So that was a pretty easygoing week for you.
That's it.
Hiding
in, literally, we joked that I would shut our bedroom door. I'd go into our closet, shut the closet door, and answer the office line, if you will, in between clothes, trying to make sure that you didn't hear a baby crying in the other room to give off this perception of professionalism.
Sure. A routine I've run a couple of times myself, although it's usually the guest, like the far corner of the guest room for me was kind of that was my sanctuary
the
for
favorite,
a while.
Hold 1 second, I'll transfer you.
Right.
Yeah, and then wait 30 seconds and come back on.
All right. So I was going to ask if you pitched, but it sounds like you got pitched.
Kind of. So unfortunately, there's some stories that my wife always rolls her eyes when she hears me tell, because they're painful, embarrassing memories. But the night before, so I have two main partners in the deal, and I knew Mark well. I did not know the other guy that well, and so Mark said, "Hey, put together this kind of model, pro forma, whatever you want to call it, and we'll take it to the other guy."
Okay,
let's do it. I was not a Mays major here at Texas A&M. I was not very familiar with Excel or how the functions of Excel work at that time, and so I sat down in front of my computer and I started just typing numbers in, and I thought my CPA, highly educated wife, would be super impressed by this. And so I said, hey, come check out this great model that I built over here.
Yeah.
And she changed one number, and then nothing in the columns changed. And she said, why did your total revenue not change? I was like, oh, well, what you do is when you change a number here, you have to highlight all the numbers. It'll say the summation down in the bottom, and then you just type in that number. And she was like, you don't know how Excel works, do you? I was like, no, does it do it for you? And she's like, I need you to go away for 30 minutes and come back. And so she luckily made the model look better. So that's how blind I was going into this. So I show up the next day for lunch. Mark is already in on the idea. I'm meeting this new guy, highly educated, runs a major consulting firm.
Sure.
I don't know anything from anything. I'm just pitching this random idea that Mark's making me pitch, essentially.
Right.
And at that time he said, so Jacob, if we do this and these numbers hit, here in about 5 to 6 years, what does EBITDA look like for you on the business? And I had literally never heard that term before in my life. And I was like, okay, what do you say here? And all I could come up with was
EBITDA, a fine Hungarian delicacy, no doubt.
I literally looked at him straight face and I go, a really good one. and so
perfect.
I think luckily Mark jumped in at that point and took the answer from me. And I was like, oh, it's a number. Okay, got it. It was a rocky start, but I've come a long way with my Excel skills and my EBITDA talk.
From a business standpoint, though, from a running the business standpoint, what's the biggest thing you got wrong?
Oh, man, a lot. I think looking back on those early years, and even today, we repeat it constantly, not all revenue is good revenue. I think I was so fixated on grow, that two things happened. One, we were taking on bad customers. So that was slowing down payments, taking advantage of us. I didn't know the business well enough to push back on certain things. And in the early days too, in a business, you're constantly afraid of losing business, right? And so
Yes.
you just say yes to everything. And all of a sudden you look up and you're like, how did we not make any money on that? Well, I gave it all away, and so quick growth is also quick cash out the door. And so learning, and you couple that with bad customers who don't pay quickly, all of a sudden you're a business that's doing a couple $1 million in revenue and you have a lot of negative money in the bank account.
Yes.
So you go home at night and you can pound your chest and say, man, we're a $3 million company. Great. I can't afford anything.
Right.
And so I would say early on, it's not all revenue is good revenue. And we say that all the time in all the businesses that I'm a part of. Hey, it's okay to pass on things.
What are the signs looking back to that time?
Yeah.
And maybe they're the same signs you look at now, but if you could tell yourself back then, here's an account you should pass on, what are the red flags you would go back and look for now?
I think I would do a better understanding of what accounts we were profitable at. Right. So we were just saying yes to everything. And so we were cleaning houses, and then we were cleaning apartment complexes, and then we were cleaning schools, and then we were cleaning churches, and then I'd go do an office building and a bank.
Yeah.
And those all may seem the same to the person that's going, yeah, you just clean things. Listen, you can lose your shirt real fast in a house versus an office building.
Sure.
And so I think going back and better understanding what we are good at, and when an opportunity comes to the door saying, hey, we're just not good at that, I can pass you along to somebody. And so I've gotten really good these days of going, yeah, we don't do that. Like, we don't do that. And I think early on in the team that worked for me, they probably would laugh at this now, because I used to say, just say yes to everything, right? The answer is always yes, and we'll figure it out. It almost bit us in the butt a few times. And so I think understanding, sure, who the customers are, you can do research on how well customers pay, especially bigger customers, things like that. But I would do a better understanding of what you are good at and what you're not good at.
What's the most irritating entrepreneur advice that everyone assumed you needed?
Oh gosh. Oh man. I get entrepreneurial advice all the time.
Yeah.
My favorites are from non-entrepreneurs. And so those are always interesting. Not that the advice is always bad. It's just always, you have it more in my shoes kind of deal.
Right.
Whether it's the other business I'm a part of or One Stone, taking advice from somebody that has no fundamental understanding of your business. For example, cleaning business.
Yeah.
Labor is interesting, right? Labor's always been interesting. We're living in an interesting time right now. Sure, everyone wants to talk about labor, but hiring labor has always been a struggle. If it was easy, everybody had a cleaning company, right? There would be individuals that would come alongside me that would say, hey, listen, well, this is what you need to do. And you're going, you run a global consulting company downtown Houston. We don't employ the same individual, right? The same thing doesn't motivate my team that motivates your team, right? You get to pay your people 6 figures. I don't.
Right.
I can make them work really late. Or you can make them work really late. I can't. And so there's different things. You get to bill the customer hourly. I don't. Right. And so I think it's people that would come alongside that go, hey, well, you just need to do X, Y, and Z. You're going, yeah, there's no way I could do X, Y, or Z if I wanted to. And so I think people that want to give you entrepreneur advice that don't understand the business is always pretty tough.
You were talking a second ago about how finding talent is a different journey for every business.
Sure.
And it should be a different journey for every business. But is there a value that people are not capturing, or an inefficiency still in the market in terms of finding talent?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for every business is slightly different, obviously. I think one of the things I'm currently learning with one of the ventures I'm a part of is it's not just about money. Right. And I think corporations have come a long way in understanding that. I think the pendulum is swinging, right? We care about health benefits. We care about time off. We care about the work environment, right? We're going to create napping pods. I'm not sure I understand that one yet, but we're going to do all these things to enhance creativity or work-life balance. I think for us, what I'm learning with one of our ventures, we employ a lot of high school kids. Yeah, high school kids care about money. Sure, they need gas money. They need that kind of stuff. But more times than not, they're not supporting a family. What they care about is the extras, right? Do I care about them as an individual? Our director of operations at this other venture we'll talk about in a minute, she's great at thinking outside the box. And so on a Tuesday night a couple weeks ago, we rented out a movie theater. Wasn't that expensive to the company. And these almost had 100% participation. And these kids, they loved it. And it shows, I think, hey, listen, we see you. We know we're asking you to do a hard thing. So just come watch a movie with us. And so I think companies create loyalty different ways. I think the other thing employees appreciate too is watching the management work. I think getting in the business, the hustle of the business, understanding that I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. And obviously that translates a little differently across industries. But I think companies not just focusing on the dollar, but also understanding the dollar is important.
Moving forward, what was the inception for DryPort Capital?
DryPort is an industrial outdoor storage real estate company. We mainly focus on 18-wheelers and where they need to park their trucks overnight so they can go home to their house.
Okay.
Because most people can't park their 18-wheeler in their driveway. I don't know about your driveway. Mine's not that long. And so
no.
Yeah, and my neighbors would not be a fan of me parking my 18-wheeler outside my house.
No.
And so during COVID, it was one of these days where I was driving around bored because we weren't going to the office. I just needed to get out of the house for a minute. And for the last 5 or 6 years at my house, when you exit off the interstate, I'm always stuck behind 18-wheeler. And I've never been able to figure out why. It's always just driven me crazy. And so one day I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm just going to follow this guy. I'm just going to see where he goes.
Right.
So I followed him in this chain link fenced area.
Cue TV music.
That's it. That's right. My wife's like, stop following people. But we go in. I'm like, hey, what do y'all do back here? Because all these trucks look different. He's like, I just parked my truck here. You pay to park here? And he's like,
dun dun dun
yeah,
dun
exactly.
dun.
I'm like, all right, man. Now my wheels are turning. And so kind of our eyes were open to this severe need in this space. These individuals that literally keep our country moving don't have a place to park their truck. Called one of my best friends. His dad's a trucker. His father-in-law's a trucker. His brother-in-laws are truckers. And I was like, hey, call your family and let's see if this is a business. And so he did. And Dave left his job in 2020 and DryPort. We've been blessed that we have some great funding behind us. And so we're trying to change the game of 18-wheeler truck parking now.
Cut to you guys like going to the mattresses against the Buc-ee's guys.
That's it. That's exactly right.
Have there been any surprises in that particular journey yet?
Oh yeah.
What have the surprises been?
We've gotten to meet some interesting individuals. I've already learned a lot of interesting stories. But also just the random things that pop up, right? Everybody go, oh man, that's a super simple business. You just have a lot of crushed concrete, some chain link fence, and some lights. Sure. We could interview Dave, and Dave would go, yeah, it's an interesting business until a guy doesn't see the don't park here sign, gets his truck stuck all the way up to the axles.
Right.
He backs over our security cameras and tears through our chain link fence. And so it's been very interesting learning experience so far, something that seems so simple, right? And I think that's a lot of mistakes people make. They go, oh, it's just simple.
The word just.
If you find that business, somebody let me know what it is, because I'd like to be a part of that one. But
yeah.
But I love that in the sense of going, because there's been groups that have tried this business because they can just automate it. You can't really automate when you're dealing just with people.
Yeah.
And we're willing to say, hey, listen, we'll take on that challenge. And I think that's what started to set us apart. But there's been some interesting individuals so far for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, now what about Dig World?
Dig World. So. That's my most curveball venture for sure. We just opened a buddy of mine. We met at A&M, a construction theme park where kids and adults get to operate real construction equipment. They have a park in New Jersey that's existed for a while like this, and we said, hey, we need to build one here in Texas. And so that's been an interesting journey over the last 4 years, and we finally opened it at the end of March. And so it's been awesome. But to watch kids come from all over and their families and sit on these machines and operate excavators and skid steers and UTVs has been great.
How do you make that safe?
Great question. That's why it took 4 years to raise money.
Right.
Most people are like, you're going to put a 4-year-old on these things?
Right.
We're like, yeah. That's what we said, 4-year-old. And so if
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Keanu Reeves.
That's right. Rick and I talked. We went back and counted. We had over. So if any entrepreneurs out there that want to talk about, you feel like you're just constantly pitching an idea that nobody's catching on to. We had over 250 meetings to get 19 investors. So we had a lot of no's over the last 3.5, 4 years. Now, COVID did not help, obviously.
Right.
Because that also changed our pitch. We're like, hey, we're going to take 4-year-olds, put them on machines, and we're going to take a bunch of people and put them around each other. So it was not the best time to try to be raising money for a theme park across history. But all the machines are actually re-engineered by some engineering students here at A&M. We have a partnership with Texas A&M Construction Science Division where a lot of the controls are not engaged, right? The machines can only go certain degrees right and left. They can't go forward and backwards on some stuff. So we have made them incredibly safe. And then the ultimate fail safe is all my employees carry kill switch buttons. And so I can turn it off if we need.
Nice. What is the experience that you have that you hope families will have together? And especially the kids, of course.
Sure.
Like, is it a respect for that kind of work that they wouldn't have had otherwise? Like what is the outcome you hope for from these visits?
I think it's two things. For sure, an education on this space. I think construction is obviously a very important space. It's a space that's suffering from labor shortages. But also one of the things is going back to what I was talking about with the janitorial company is an appreciation for those individuals that work in that space. right? I think a lot of times, one of my favorite things to hear from customers so far has been, man, that was really hard, right? And they're trying to move the machines. And what it does is it immediately creates respect for the guy you see on the side of the road as he's working that excavator, that he doesn't swing it around and take your car out. You know what I mean? It takes a true skill to operate those machines and build buildings and build roads and build highways. And so I think we a lot of times just flippantly think about, oh yeah, there's those construction workers over there. Because a lot of times it's an inconvenience for us, right? Of traffic patterns or whatever it may be.
Yep.
So watching these individuals go, yeah, I couldn't. We have a game where you pick up objects and relocate them. And my favorites were like, I couldn't get any of them. You know, we had a fighter pilot, literally he was a fighter pilot out there the other day, and his wife got like 4 of them and he couldn't get any of them. And so it was just kind of this,
by the way.
and me too. It was one of these aha moments where it's like, man, that's hard. So yes, that is a component of it. Want to educate kids on construction, want to teach them that, hey, listen, this is a great career path. Like go open a plumbing company, go open a dirt work company. Like there's no bad stigma around that. Frankly, you can make a lot of money doing that, right? And so that's a great thing. The other thing is just creating an experience for families. Create an experience for mom or dad or grandma, or grandpa, aunt, uncle to take kids out there and just create a memory, right? I like I said earlier, I love the hospitality space. How can we make Dig World the number one place for birthday parties? How can we make it the number one place for when people come to Houston? I gotta go there. I've heard the customer service is great. I've heard the experience is awesome. How can we tangibly impact people's lives by creating a really unique and fun memory? And so we judge a lot of our stuff on how many smiles did we see today? How many people did you see smile that weren't smiling when they walked in? How many kids did you just blow their mind today because they got to live out this crazy dream that they've had all 4 years of their life? But how do we do that on a daily basis, day in and day out, is something that's super, super important.
Was this inspired by anything in particular?
Yeah, so my son, I have 2 kids, Pierce and Annie. Annie is, she's amazing. She's 2. We're right in the throes of the terrible 2. She's good more times than she's not, but we're learning there.
No, that
but
well.
Yes, but Pierce is my oldest. As I mentioned, we had Pierce 4 days before we started One Stone.
Right.
Pierce was born completely normal and progressed along normally, developed normally. And then at 21 months, we woke him up on a Saturday morning, February 4th, 2017, completely unconscious in his crib. My wife ran out screaming. We rushed him to the hospital, to Texas Children's, where they then took us downtown to Texas Children's, where they told us he had contracted bacterial meningitis. If he was lucky enough to make it, that life was going to probably look different for us. He was in a coma for 12 days. We were in the hospital 75 days. And when we left the hospital, Pierce is now nonverbal. He's deaf in both ears, epileptic. He's in a wheelchair, and the mental capacity is probably 6 to 7 month range. And that's the way he'll be his rest of his life. He's the happiest guy you'll ever meet in the world. He loves his people. He loves his grandparents. He loves Melissa and I. He loves his sister and a lot of our friends. But our world got completely turned upside down literally overnight. I went to bed on Friday night with a kid that I thought just was a little sick, was talking to me, and I've never talked to him since. And in the way that you and I are conversing, I talked to him in many other ways. But Pierce always loved trucks, always loves garbage trucks, still does to this day. And so I wanted to create an experience where somebody like him could go, where a community like him could go. I think our special needs and disabled community is a vastly overlooked community, and frankly, I was a person overlooking them right before my world was introduced to that community in a epic way. And so one of the things we're excited to do at the park is it's really a park for all people. Like I always tell people all the time, they always say, "Well, what's the target age?" And I'm like, any human that's alive, right? Like grandma's having a great time, and the 2-year-old's having a great time. That's the beauty of our park. But also, we wanted it a park for all people. And so here next week, actually, we're having our first special needs night, where we found very gracious underwriters that if you have a child that has special needs, we want your entire family, siblings and the parents, to come for free and enjoy the park in its entirety, and just take a night, because a lot of people in our community don't go to things like this because it may take us a little bit longer to get on and off the machines. Our kids may cause a scene and nobody knows how to react to that situation. And it's a normal experience for us, but it throws a lot of people off. So what we do is we just don't go. And so our desire is to get those people to say, no, we want you here. We need you here. Your kids deserve to have just as much fun as everybody else. And I'm proud to say that we had 200 spots available within an hour. We sold out all 200 spots. We increased it to 300. Within 3 hours, we were at all those spots. And so we had to cap it. We capped it at 300. We already have a wait list over 220 for the next night we do. And so that warms my heart. It brings tears to my eyes. But that's going to be a fun night for us. But Pierce is the inspiration behind the park. And pretty much everything I do is through the lens of him. You know, I judge a lot of my career. I always say there's pre-Pierce getting sick and post-Pierce getting sick. And Jacob's leadership style, Jacob's thought on life, Jacob, the way he talks to customers, leads people, whatever it may be, is not all 180, but a lot of it's filtered through a different lens on this side of Pierce getting sick. You lose an account, not the end of the world. I'll go find another one. There's bigger things in life. And how I treat people or how I want to push people is all different now because of that little guy.
How so?
And I think, one, just understanding what's important, right? I think for us, understanding that beautiful work-life balance, right? And I like to believe I work hard. I work most days of the week. But at the same time, if Pierce needs something, I'm out of here. And that's important. If my wife needs help, that's important to go take care of that. It also changes the way that I view the world, right? I think a lot of times, whether we want to go into work or even the hot button of politics, whatever, we go in with a very narrow mind most of the time, even if we think we have an open mind. And experiencing life with him has radically changed how I view people, think about people. I want to know where you come from. Why do you think that way? Tell me about that. Because I'm sitting over here telling you a story, and you're all in, and then because you know Pierce, right? Like you've met him, my friends, you've seen him, you've touched him, you've watched this experience. So that hot button issue, you have a little bit different of a change of opinion now because you've seen something tangible there. And so I think that is a lot of this, the way that I view life. It's gone to my curiosity of how, I want to know why. Why does that work that way? Why do we think that way? And then it's just opened my eyes also to, like I said, another community, whether it be church or politics or whatever it may be, of saying, hey, listen, are we thinking about everybody here? Are we thinking about the parents? Are we thinking about the kids? Are we thinking about the siblings? And there's more important things in life than the almighty dollar. And that's important too. And just enjoying life. You know, you hear it all the time, but life is short. Life happens. Unexpected things happen. That was us, right? I mean, there's no reason my son should have gotten sick. No statistical reason under the sun that he should have gotten sick. But he did. And life is different now. And he'll live with me the rest of his life. And that was never on my game plan, right? But how are we going to adapt? How are we going to view this as God's blessing? And how are we going to take that story and tell other people about it? And one of the ways I can do that is build a theme park. And I can tell his story through avenues like this. And hopefully it reaches somebody that's going, man, I'm struggling with that. Or man, that just happened to my kid. Or man, I've got this really tough situation. Yeah, I want to talk about it. Like, because life's hard. But there's people around you that you can link arms with and get through life.
Yeah. You mentioned that you haven't had a conversation with him that looks like this.
Sure.
Since that Friday night. But you said you talked to him a lot of other ways.
Oh, yeah.
And I was curious.
Yeah.
What are those?
Man, that guy, he knows who his people are. And I was telling some guys at breakfast this morning, Pierce loves to do very odd things. It doesn't make sense. If you come to my house, more than likely, we're going to actually hang out in my bathroom. Pierce's favorite thing is to go into my closet, grab my shoes, and throw them in our bathtub. No clue why. No doctor can explain it. There's no papers out there written on it. That's just his favorite activity. He sits in his wheelchair and he'll throw my shoe one by one into the bathtub. And so if you were to come over tonight, we're probably going to hang out in my bathroom, which is very weird. But man, he and I can sit in there for hours, and it's eye contact. It's the way that he'll just reach out and he'll touch your arm. It's the way that he'll smile at you. And I can see Jesus in his eyes, and I can talk to him. He knows that I love him. He loves when I can tickle him and wrestle him right before bed. And so, yes, we don't talk about sports or baseball or Aggie football or anything like that, that I had envisioned of doing with my son one day. But man, I'll throw shoes with him any day.
Beautiful. My son, who's sort of verbal, he turned 1 on Friday, and but he's kind of talking, but no real words yet. And his favorite thing to do is to, like, he kept lurking outside the shower.
Okay.
And so finally, my wife and I decided we're going to let him come in if he wants to. And so open up the shower door, and little man fears nothing. And he just crawled right into the shower. And now his favorite thing to do is to hang out in the shower, like in the morning, check the water. He'll kind of, pop his hand in the spray or whatever, and think about that for a little bit, and then slowly reach out again. That's so right. It's just so funny, the things that kids find.
Yes, the amount of times my wife and I would look at each other, whether it's Pierce or Annie, we're going, I don't get it. But it's those fun memories, right? Where, I mean, Melissa was talking about something last night. She's like, I'm going to remind her for the rest of her life that she used to say X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. And so those are fun kid memories. Yes.
What's next for you?
Man, my wife made me promise I can't start another business this year.
Okay.
Yeah, she's.
I'm December 31st.
That's it. Yep, I'm counting down. I've got a countdown on the clock. But no, I'm getting more comfortable in my own skin, saying that I'm this entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think I'd always feared that because I think I had this stigma in my mind that just meant I couldn't do something stable. And there's probably a lot of psychological things around that. And whether it's going back to what I said as a freshman in college going, man, there's only 4 jobs out there, right? Everybody does something their entire life. And yes, sure, statistically that's not true, but most people don't do multiple things at once.
Yeah.
Because that's for crazy people. And so I'm getting more comfortable in my own skin saying, no, that's who I am. I love creating things. Like I love taking something from 0 to 1 and just saying, yeah, that was our idea. And I don't need to be the guy in charge of it. I don't need to own most of it. Like, hey, let's go build something with people. So for me right now, I'm very blessed. I got to be put on a board for a nonprofit in Houston that is a center for adults with disabilities to live and playing a long-term game there, thinking about peers, getting to really work alongside those individuals. How do we grow that program, impact other families?
Yeah.
So that's super meaningful to my wife and I. And then growing these businesses, growing Dig World, watching DryPort grow, One Stone, and then just seeing what else the Lord may have in store.
How do you partition your time across all of those things? Like, what is it, do you have from 8 to 3 this day? I'm over working on DryPort, and then I shift gears and I work on Dig World for 3. Like, what does that look like?
No, that's a good question, and I'm not sure if I've perfected it yet. I think one of the things that I've gotten really good with, because they're all 3 different teams, right? Like, there's nobody that works with me across the companies. And that's not because I don't love them all. It's just there's different skill sets for everybody. Yeah. It's over communicating with all of them. Hey, listen, this is what this week looks like for me. Monday, I'm at Dig World. Tuesday, I'm at One Stone. Wednesday, I'm back at the park. And just communicating with them to set their expectations of, hey, that's if you're wondering where I'm at, that's where I'm at. But also, I'm not one of these crazy individuals. I'm envious of it. I can't work late into the evening. I'm not a 2 a.m. sending emails kind of guy, but I will be up at 4:30. And so I loved that quiet time in the morning of my reading, working out, and really getting a lot of work done then, and then going in. And so for me, it's really prioritizing that early morning time and then really hammering in my calendar. And yes, it can change, it can fluctuate, it can be fluid. But if everybody on that team understands potentially where I'm at, that makes me feel a lot better of saying, hey, I'm not there today. But I've also gotten really good. I mean, technology makes it easy. I can sit in the One Stone office and do a Dig World email, right? But that's really is just focusing on my calendar of saying, nope, that's where I'm going to be this week, and carving out that time and really trying to maximize those hours.
Any good bull?
Man, I'm blessed, right? I tell people all the time, if you're not blessed with great parents, make sure you have great friends around you, people that encourage you and support you and push you. There's enough naysayers in the world. There's plenty of people that tell you, your idea is stupid. I mean, I was listening to a podcast this morning, the guy that created Affirm, the payment system, came from PayPal. And he's like, yeah, literally nobody took me seriously. I just had to do it with my own money. Now I'm like, that was a great idea, right? And so even those guys who already had millions and millions of dollars face naysayers. And I'm blessed with 2 great parents that have supported me and pushed me and always been there to go, yeah, you could do that. Now, they've never let me jump off a dumb cliff and be like, that was a stupid idea. But they've always been great guardrails, but always highly encouraging. I've never been nervous to tell them my idea. They've always shown up. And then my wife is just amazing, right? I mean, people always go, how do you know what businesses to start? Because I asked Melissa, right? And there we go up, Pierce likes to go on long walks. And so we'll be on walks. And that's where most of these ideas have come from, of me just saying, hey, let me think out loud for a second. What do you think about this idea? And she'll think about it and go, nah, it's not going to work. Okay, on to the next one, right? She's a great barometer of that. But man, she loves me, supports me, takes care of the house and the kids, and gives me the freedom to go do crazy things and build a theme park and a real estate company and just say, hey, I'm supporting you 110%. I believe in you. So man, I'm blessed. And for those of you that don't have those people in your corner to push you, man, find those people. Reach out to people like me. There's people out there that want to see you be successful. And if you don't have those people around you, find those people quick, fast, and in a hurry, because the entrepreneurial journey is a lonely one. And you need people when you can go to them and go, I don't think this idea is going to work. And they're going to go, no, it can. just rewind for a second. Remember why you started this. And you need those people in your corner that can just pick you up, push you back out the door, and you can get back out in the game. And so find those people and really keep those people close.
Love it. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us today.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me.